All right, before we get started, I just want to communicate that today's episode of Game Recognized Game is being brought to you by IJO Consulting LLC. For all of your diversity and student advocacy needs, Dr. IJ is here to help. With over a decade of experience of working in schools and with families, Dr. IJ has a proven track record of making academic success possible for every student. Now, I have to give my own personal testimony of working with this young brother. Very successful, very humble, he gets it done because he understands the kids. Working together, we were able to get many kids that graduate that didn't have a shot. So if you are a family that needs additional supports for your child or an educational provider that needs systematic solutions for working with high-need students, IJO Consulting LLC is here for you. Hey, welcome Planet Earth. You are now tuned in to the Game Recognized Game segment of the Game Orchestrator Network. You have Ernani Santos, your guy. I'm here, CAAASA Conference 2019. Me and my comrade, Dr. Edison Kelly, we in here in a hotel room, man, just kind of debriefing, working on our presentation for tomorrow. We will be presenting alongside of the illustrious Nicole Anderson on an equity panel, man, and I'm really excited. But let me turn the mic over to my guy. What's up, Coach?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Hey, now I call him Coach because we go way back like 4 flats on a Cadillac.
Yes, we do.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Coach, talk about it.
Yeah, we I want to say the 90s, right? Was it the 90s?
Late 90s.
Late 90s. We coached basketball at Hogan High School. I believe you coached the freshman and I coached the junior varsity under Foster Hicks.
Yep. Coach Hicks, man.
Coach Hicks, man.
Love that dude.
Man,
hey,
me too.
For the record, he's going to be like an official guest for this Game Recognized Game segment, man.
That's going to be a treat. That's going to be a straight treat.
Talking about Triple OG.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I'm going to try to pull out of him?
Uh-huh.
I'm going to try to pull out that old Jerry Curl.
Jerry Curl Hicks. Hey, see, I know Jerry Curl Hicks. I actually played for Jerry Curl Hicks. So people don't know about Jerry Curl Hicks.
See, most people know him like Bald Hicks.
Yeah, Bald Hicks. That's when he got saved.
Yeah, and married.
And married. That's right. He got saved and married.
Hey, funny story before we get into this this breakdown of day one at the CAAASA Conference 2019. So when I played for him, he would have this thing for the whole team, right? Mm-hmm. We were decent. We were going to make a deep run into the playoffs. Like, we knew this was coming from the time we were freshmen. And so he had this rule. During the season,
put your girls on layaway.
Yeah, put your girls on lay. No girlfriends.
That's right.
And he would go in extensively how they, when you were in a relationship, it was a distraction.
That's right.
Right. So he would say things like, I'm not saying you got to dump her forever, but loan her to your friend.
That's right.
Until the season over. Right. So, but he was dead serious. And you know what? I mean, I'm not saying no one dated, but it was communicated to the girls like, you're my girlfriend. However, this is serious.
Yeah, this is basketball right now. This is a real game. The game is real right now.
So you can imagine our feelings when we got the news. Mm-hmm. Oh, now you want to get married.
Right.
All this stuff about loaning your girlfriend away. Now you gonna tie the knot
during basketball season.
Yep. So it was like a running joke, man. Me and the guys, Marco McLeod, T.Y. Tyler, Reggie Watts, my boy Goob. It was like a running joke. We was gonna crash the wedding. So when the pastors say, does anyone oppose? We was gonna bust in there, throwing basketballs at him.
So we got practice, coach.
Yeah, we got practice.
Put on layaway. Put on layaway.
Hey, prepare for war in the time of peace.
That's right. What you do most is what you do best.
So funny story about Foss, man. But anyways, man, back to the
to the matter at hand, man. We in Anaheim, you know, right around the corner from the happiest place on the planet,
Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland. I'm enjoying myself, man. How about you?
I'm really enjoying myself. This is probably one of our better CAAASA events. Now, this is our first time having it in Orange County. Normally, we go back and forth from San Diego to Sacramento.
Right.
So it's the first time we actually been out here in Orange County, and you know, it's nice. It's beautiful out here. The weather's great, you know, and you know, the atmosphere is great.
Man, it is a beautiful thing, man, to be around, you know, other like-minded individuals, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, representing for our black and brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's powerful. It's real powerful because, you know, you going down there and you seeing other brothers in suits and all that, and, you know, superintendents and principals and all that. And we all brothers, African American, you know,
Right.
brothers and sisters, African American, and we're doing our thing in our districts. And you seeing some pillars, you know, like people like George McKenna,
Right.
him and others that's like they have TV shows on, and they, you know, they're out here doing their thing, and we're grabbing information from them.
Right. Soaking up that game, so to speak, right? So, how many years have you been coming to CAAASA? And you know, for me, I mean, I know what it means, but you know, for my listeners, what does CAAASA stand for?
California African American Administrators and Superintendents Association.
Okay, awesome. So, how many years you been doing this?
This is probably my 4th or 5th year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen a you know, a difference? Like, is it growing? Is it pretty much the same?
No, it's getting better each year to me. I think one of the things that I really take out of it when I go to CAAASA events is I leave empowered, because you go to these events and then the topics that's talked about are very relevant to what's going on, particularly in like our urban school districts and in other districts as well. And we're talking about equity. We're talking about our black and brown students and how we should be advocating for them in our own ways, in our own, you know, professions.
Right.
And, you know, when we get here, I get inspired every year, you know, and helps me to go back more revived and ready to start some mess.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, wasn't that one of the charges given to us today? I mean, was that this morning?
Mm-hmm.
This morning.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Judy White.
Yeah. Dr. Judy White.
Don't you know, you can't be afraid of conflict. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, what's exposed in these settings are a lot of about what's going on. You know, we look at our disproportionalities with discipline with our African American students, and we look at the achievement gap, and you know, and all these other things. You know, a lot of these things are exposed. I mean, you already know about it, but when you come here and they're telling us the stories about, you know, how they had to advocate for some of them in their own districts.
Right.
It empowers you to go back. And then going through the workshops and going and just talking and networking with others, you have tools that empower you. So when you go back, you're able to advocate and able to play your role in this fight, because it's a fight, it's a struggle.
And what I like too about it, not just it reinvigorates, but it kind of gives you more of a sense of direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we know this is an uphill battle.
Yeah.
We know we gonna have things to do. However, sometimes, especially when you get caught up in that daily grind, man, you kind of lose focus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when you may be dealing with things that are out of your control, right? A parent coming into your office off the hook.
Yeah.
You know, students. You know, obviously we're here talking about equity, but students aren't being served, and so they're off the hook. Or, you know, you may have a staff member that's struggling. I mean, all these things can kind of just wear and tear on your mental.
Yeah.
And then you come down to something like CAAASA, and you hear and you get around other professionals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, who sound like you, look like you.
Yeah.
And it kind of it recalibrates, so to speak.
It does.
So after day one, you know, we went to, I know we spent a lot of time, you and I, working on our presentation for tomorrow, which, by the way, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
And
Me
so
too.
when we're done tomorrow, we'll do the same type of wrap up on the day. We'll come back in and debrief.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm definitely pumped up, man. Getting our feet wet together as a unit. You know, as we begin our journey. You know, in you know, presenting at different conferences. So man, I am amped.
Hey, me too, man. I mean, it's very good to go to a lot of these events and you see some magnificent presenters, but when you actually have to stand and you're right now sitting shoulder to shoulder with a lot of these people, it inspires you.
Yeah, there you go.
Know,
there
it
you
inspires
go.
you.
Hey, and for the record, people start recognizing you, man, because you know, when we showed up this morning, we didn't have name tags.
Sure didn't.
And my girl seeing you was like, I know you.
Yep.
The superstars are here. And
Yeah.
I knew she wasn't talking to me.
I turned around and looked over my shoulder. I was like, you couldn't be talking about me because I know me.
She like, nah, you in the program, bro. You in the program.
Yeah, we saw you in the program. And we thought we was in the program. We had big heads for a minute.
For a half second.
For a half second till we opened the program and saw that we wasn't in it.
Right.
But we got our name tags and everything, didn't we?
That's it, man. That's it. So, any takeaways from today? Anything that stand out for you?
I think the financial literacy was very, very enriching. I like that brother. What's his name? LeBron James.
Yeah.
Not the basketball player, but his name really was LeBron James.
Yeah, different spelling, but same pronunciation.
He was I like the way I like his style of communication, you know, and I like the message that he gave. He said something that was very profound to me, and I'm trying to put it together in my head. What did he say? He said about I can't remember. He was saying something about this is what he said. He said that it's not like all the African American people just got together and said, let's just go be broke.
Right.
He said there's systems in place that's designing us to be that way.
Right.
You know, we're told we're not taught to we're not being taught or even showed or coached into financial literacy, owning houses versus renting houses, investing in stocks, and we're not telling our young people. And as I was listening to him, I was thinking to myself, you know, old money versus fast money.
Right.
You know, and I was thinking, you know, I'm looking at like my wife's boss, for example, owns the whole block. I mean, owns the bank on that block, owns a paint store, owns the law firm.
Right.
A millionaire. But when you see him walk up the street, you would think that he was probably one of the bums on the neighborhood.
Right.
But he's a very rich man. Whereas fast money, they driving expensive cars, and that money's gone like in 2 seconds.
And not, but you know what? To go even deeper on that, man, like, because he also elaborated on that point to say that's on purpose. Like we aren't being taught the. I know I wasn't being taught these things because
capitalistic society.
If we know it, then we don't rent houses, we buy houses, right? So now we're competition.
That's right.
Right?
That's what he said.
If I don't know how to start a business, then I'm a customer. But once I get this financial literacy piece under me and I understand concepts,
now I'm a competitor.
Now I'm
competition.
a competitor. Right. That was deep, man.
It was deep. And he said, because we're a capitalistic society, you got to have customers.
Yeah.
And you can't, everybody can't be owners. So they need us to be customers.
Because it's only designed for a handful to win and for everyone else to lose.
Yep. So, I mean, that was very profound. And he said, we need to start teaching it in our schools.
Right.
And you know, in addition to, that should be part of a curriculum, in addition to all the core curriculum, is to know it. And I remember whispering in your ear and you whispered in my ear saying that we need to start teaching that to our kids in our programs.
And it is critical, it's critical for all, young people, especially those, in areas like Vallejo, Richmond, Baltimore, right? Like, all across the country. But especially so as we're getting ready to do our presentation in for students in all ed settings, right? So using my school, for example, John Finney High School, I have primarily seniors. Like, I want to say 2/3 or more are seniors. And I have most of them for 1 year I have a smaller population for less than that. And so, we can, and this is the thing that we're working on together, right? Is that what is the expectation to cover in 1 year, right? However, there are some things that we can give the kids within that year that will be of benefit to them once they graduate, i.e., financial literacy. Another example, soft skills, public speaking.
Yeah.
Things like that, that's not going to, equate to an immediate rise in their CAASA scores, but could pay dividends for them later on down the road.
Yeah, post graduation, being able to live adult lives, practical adult lives.
Right.
The bare basics, being able to provide for themselves.
No, financial literacy, that one stood out, man. And every CAASA, there's a theme, right? And I know we've said the word a few times, but can you just elaborate on what this year's theme is?
Oh, equity.
Yeah.
Well, our colleague Nicole, to me, best describes equity to me. It's a difference between equality and a difference between equity.
Right.
And she always shows this picture. You guys got to imagine this, those that's listening to this, of 3 young men trying to look over a fence. And you have one young man that's tall enough to kind of look over the fence, one that has to kind of stand on his tiptoes a little bit and kind of look over, and one that's just too small. But now equality, they all each had an equal size box that they looked at.
Right.
And when they looked at the box, the 2 were able to look over the fence, but the small person couldn't look over the fence even with that box. So it was equal, but it's still they weren't able to get what they needed to get done. But then equitable meant that maybe the tall guy that didn't need the box could give his additional box to the small kid. So they have 2 boxes for that small kid to stand on top of. Now it's equitable. Not everybody can look over the fence.
Right.
So when we look at education right now, everybody's not looking over the fence. And now one would say, well, they all getting equal attention. They all got classes. They all got books. They all got curriculum. It's all equal. They need to start pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. And they should be trying to do everything else. Whereas if you look at it equitable, okay, somebody, I think one of the presenters spoke about having to support his family at the age of 9 because the mother was sick in the hospital. But then he still had to go back to school the next day and still try to learn.
Right.
So how you work with a kid like that, and that's equally he has everything, but he's still dealing with a deficit.
Right.
And it may be a deficit that he can't handle. And that's our clientele in the schools that me and you both deal with.
Right.
Homeless students and students that maybe have other issues. So when you're thinking equity, how can we make access the same for everybody?
Right.
And you may have to give some a little bit more than you give others.
Right.
But that's the equity piece of it, and it's just fair. It's just about being fair.
So we're not talking about, giving the same technology to every student. We're not talking about giving the same, in regards to resources. We're talking about leveling the playing field.
Exactly. We given the right amount to help that person be able to look over the fence.
Right.
And that's to me was the best description to me of what equity is. And I stole that I'm stealing this from Nicole Anderson because that's what she would always show in her. I'm sure she's gonna show it tomorrow in our presentation.
Because oftentimes people think just because things may be equal that's sufficient. And when we're learning, which you and I we deal with all the time, so our perspective's a little different, but we're learning as a group this weekend is what equity actually means.
Yeah, because
the definition isn't always so clear to some people.
Yep, and it's in a way. One thing I can appreciate about this CAASA summit this year is that they're looking at it from different approaches.
Okay.
They're looking at it from different avenues. Like the piece that we're going to present is we're looking at it from alternative education lens.
Right.
There's equity in how are we able to make sure that students are getting access to the same type of academic support and held with the same expectations. One of our mentors, Fillmore Graham,
Yeah.
back at the founder of Continental Omega Boys and Girls Club.
Rest in paradise.
Yeah, in Vallejo. I remember one day he questioned a young man, Kevin Brown.
Hey, Kevin's doing big things.
He's doing huge things out there in New York right now. But he gave him a question. He questioned. He said, "What's heaviest, a pound of weights or a pound of feathers?" Did he ever give you that question?
No, I heard him say it, so I kind of cheated when he asked me. He did ask me, but I had to answer.
But most people said the pound of weights,
Right.
and he would say no. They're both equal because they both a pound.
Right.
But the way you measure feathers is different than the way you would measure bricks.
Right.
Right. So it's the same thing when you look at accountability for at-risk youth or alternative schools versus alternative comprehensive schools. The way we measure them to see if they have mastered the concepts academically may be a little different.
Right.
But we still should have the same results. A proficient student at alternative school should be the same as a proficient student at a comprehensive school.
Right. And so just a little bit more on that equity piece, man. Like if we have the same textbook, that'll make everything equitable. I might need more support and you might not need any.
Yep. And also too, they call it alternative education for a reason. Your method of ways that you present the instruction or the pedagogy is going to be a little different from maybe the way that a comprehensive traditional way that they give it.
Right.
You have to be a little more, working in alternative education, you have to be a little more creative.
That's it.
In the way that you give your instruction, in the way that you're trying to grab that student's knowledge or give that student knowledge.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So I'm excited for tomorrow. I think we got another whole lineup of great speakers.
Yeah, we do.
One thing I enjoy, man, also is just catching up, not only with you, but with other people in education that we've known and we've kind of grown together in this game.
Yeah, we have.
So it's always good together, man, rub elbows, you know what I'm saying? Being able to catch up, man.
Yeah, you see people that you haven't seen since last summit.
Right.
But then if you might catch them at the CAAASA Summit, but then the CAAASA Summit, it's just a special thing.
But also growth, man. I remember this is probably like my third or fourth as well, and some of the people that was in, say, the Superintendent Academy now are assistant superintendents. So it's also good to see, and encouraging and inspiring to see other people on their journey.
Yeah, like the sister up at Stockton.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Really happy to see. Right, really happy for her.
Yeah, and man, I've heard so many good things and how hard she works. So very well deserved, man. So yeah, excited for tomorrow. So all the listeners, this is just the first day recap. Tomorrow we'll be right back at it. Hopefully we'll have some other colleagues with us, man. Once the breakout sessions are done, people like to go see sites. But the plan was to have a few other people kind of come in and chime in, with a brief synopsis and takeaways for the day. But stay tuned, Coach. You got anything for him before we get up out of here?
No. I'm just happy to be part of one of your podcasts. I've actually heard your podcast, but now I'm actually front and center. I'm talking on a mic with some headphones in my ears right now.
That's it, man. We putting it together. Hey, shout out to my guy, Dr. IJ. Mr. Ijoma. Yeah, man. We definitely missed the fact you couldn't make it down here. But you got to get up on the next one, man. I'm telling you, powerful, man. Powerful. And we'll be right back, man. So stay tuned. All right. And so with that being said, we out of here like last year.